Hello, Luke here. I would just like to take a moment to disclose upfront that we sometimes talk about sensitive topics in our podcasts, and in fairness to our audience, we will try our best to put specific warnings in the descriptions of each episode. Now on with the show.
Constant question of attire. So concerned that they're gay. Dated gags to retire. Still I can't look away. Blinking, tripping, blinking, slipping. Another blind joke again. Handful of bits that feel overplayed when I feel the shtick enter the scene. Mel Brooks is on his same shit again, but all in all, it's pretty tame. Fuck yeah.
That's right on. Yeah, there it is.
For those under 30, that is Voodoo by Godsmack.
Wow.
What happens when you mix comedy royalty and toilet humor into one of the most famous legends of all time? You get Mel Brooks' Robin Hood Men in Tights. This is in honor of a recent loss of comedy legend Richard Lewis. But welcome to the Nostalgia Killers podcast, where we revisit films from our youth to see if they still hold up or should be inserted into the great DVD player in the sky. I am Filthy Luca, joined once again, almost as always, by Chuck Starzenski.
Ahoy.
Joined once again, almost as much as Javier Martinez.
Yo, 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 yo.
And finally onto the show, Brandon Wilson.
Thank you for having me.
And stick around for the end of the show for the Sonic Death Monkey Top 5, where we talk about our top 5 movie characters who we think would make a different good Robin Hood. And this is a good place for our honorary Sam Coughlin spoiler alert if you haven't seen Robin Hood Men in Tights, or you don't know the legend of Robin Hood itself.
Spoiler alert. Yeah.
Anyways, let's dive into our nostalgia connections. I kind of picked this one. I saw that Richard Lewis had passed, and everyone's like extremely deeply lamenting his passing, all of his friends, all of his famous celebrities and all that stuff. I never realized how much he touched people and for how long he was sober. Not that kind of touching.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's Hollywood, with the Epstein list dropping. I just...
Yeah, for me, I very distinctly remember watching this in theaters as a 13-year-old kid, laughing my fucking ass off and just almost dying from it. It was like the perfect movie for me.
I don't have a ton of nostalgic attachment for it. Another one of those movies that my dad showed me, I think, after we had watched Spaceballs. And I was like, oh, that was fucking great. Is there? And he's like, oh, well, there's plenty more.
Right.
My son, let me show you the temple.
Yeah. Who's this Mel Brooks guy? Since before yesterday, I hadn't seen it in probably like fucking 10, 15 years or whatever. So
that's why I love having you on, Javi.
Yeah.
I watched the shit out of this movie as a kid, like over and over again. I still have the original DVD. I bought it back then. Did we have DVDs back then? I think so, right?
Not until like 98.
Maybe I stole it from a video store when it did.
It was like, it's part of this movie's actual like successful history is that it did so well on VHS and DVD.
That makes sense.
That it's lived past the test of time and all.
Then I have the original DVD I got the day it came out on DVD.
Yeah.
And yeah, this was my introduction to, oddly enough, like my memorable introduction of Mel Brooks. Like I'd seen Spaceballs as a kid, but like was very little. And then all the other movies I saw so little that I probably shouldn't have been watching them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mel Brooks movies are designed for 10-year-old boys. So of course I fucking loved this movie as a child. I watched it on repeat. I had a huge crush on Amy Yasebek, who played Maid Marian.
Yeah.
Which is also in The Mask, which was like fun to be like, oh yeah, oh my God. Like I thought I was in love with 2 women. No, I was in love with just one. But yeah, growing up, we had a VHS copy that was recorded off of TV.
Oh.
So the other day when I watched this, that was the first time in my life I saw it uncensored without commercials.
Yeah, there's a lot they could censor, huh?
Yeah, because I grew up watching it just like on that tape. And then when it wasn't on that tape, it's like, oh, it's on TBS. Oh, it's on Comedy Central. Like, yeah.
Come to think of it, the copy I have is from DVD. And I also don't remember seeing, like when Blinken's reading the Playboy, I don't remember the fold out being so detailed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That, and then it's
but
like,
I'm wondering which ones have I been watching?
In the first few minutes, there's like that scene where he's, being brought to the clink and like all the hands come up at once and flip off the guard.
Yeah, that got
And
cut
I was
out.
like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Come again?
There's a lot of selective editing that could be done to make this TV ready.
It's definitely for me, like watching it again as an adult and watching all these grown men wearing tights as a genderqueer person. It's my did this awaken something in me moment? Like, is that one of the reasons? I don't know.
It's something I think I totally missed as a child, of course. The themes of masculinity versus theater, and stage dancing and all that stuff, which is, I hadn't realized it, but Mel Brooks has been making plays and stuff his entire career.
Oh, yeah.
And there's always the parody of masculinity on stage. Unfortunately, I mean, a lot of it's done as a joke in this movie, but at the same time, it's looking at itself too.
I think just watching it again, I think what I really actually enjoyed, except for, some of the jokes specifically at the expense of queer people, the joke was never about women and femininity. It was about masculinity and men doing feminine things.
Favorite scenes, favorite jokes, you guys remember? For me, it's the chorus line, just the men in tights.
Yeah.
That song has been a part of my life since I was 13.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
I was actually very surprised to see like how much of this movie actually shaped my comedy. Specifically, like watching the what's the song? The wind is a knife and you're so beautiful. Like the first shadow play part where his sword becomes his penis. I have literally, the way he takes his hand and touches the tip of it and puts it down and tucks it. I did it during Romeo and Juliet as Peter a long time ago. Like, and I still do it, and I'm like, that's where that came from. So I put that as it's definitely a part of my life. Just that joke, just that bit.
Yeah, for me, it's definitely the Little John Bridge toll fight scene. No toll, no roll. I just came up with that. And just the constant,
You don't pay no tolls, we don't eat no rolls.
He was great in that role.
Yeah. Just the constant snapping of the sticks. And just like, all right, now we're just like, ow, my wrist. And then, the whole classic bit that even as an adult is still hilarious of like him falling in the creek and be like, I can't swim. And then a Chew just being like, look, East Bank, West Bank. We don't have to do this. It's about the principle.
So for me personally, I think that it's all the little subtle background gags. For me, those are actually way funnier than the rest of the movie, if I'm being honest. If you guys can kind of head where I'm going with this movie review here. But for example, like the funniest fucking thing that I thought I saw in the movie after they put on their outfits for the first time, and the Chew's got the backwards cap.
With the snapback.
I had to pause it. Yeah, and he's got the exactly. I'm wearing one right now, and I just I was laughing so hard. And then just again the fact that they don't address it and it's just kind of there. Those are the ones that work best for me.
For me, rewatching it, the very beginning, the timing of a lot of these gags. So when he's coming into the prison, he's like, duck, always forget that.
Yeah.
And then he's leaving, he hits his head, he's and like without missing a beat, the other guy goes, come follow me. And it's like the next joke. They're like, there's 3 different people on the stage doing gag after gag after gag in most of the movie. And it's not through editing trick, it's through stagecraft. I don't know how many takes they took to get it, but I imagine with Brooks, it wasn't that many. He just like figured out how to direct people to do the thing. So I'm still laughing at it. I still love this movie.
A lot of it for me too. As talking about nostalgia, I still quote every single Blinken moment. Like it's all him. And I was actually sad, and I went and looked at the IMDb of that actor because I was just like, this guy is comedic gold. What else has he done? Just little bits here and there in movies and TV shows. I was just like, why?
Bikini Beach Academy 6. Yeah. You're like, oh, all right.
Actor number 2 in the courtroom scene of.
Exactly. Homeless man in Law and Order, like that kind of thing.
I guess nobody's coming.
Yeah, right.
Very, very much the same. Like those lines are a constant part of my life.
And just like as Javi was saying, like little moments, like if you just watch him throughout the whole movie, the focus will be on somebody else, but he's doing something. He is off in the other direction.
The whole movie, for everything.
Yeah.
They're watching the jousting. He's facing the wrong way.
Right.
All those moments are great. Yeah.
Also, I just love Latrine.
Tracy Ullman.
Tracy Ullman's amazing in this.
I don't think people know or understand the debt we owe her for
the
comedy history that we live in. Yeah, The Simpsons.
Started on the Tracy Ullman show.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's such an odd name, Latrine. It's like, well, we changed it when we moved. It used to be Shithouse.
I can't hear the word latrine without thinking that.
I
have the gauntlet challenge. Like the challenge to the duel with the glove. He picks up the gauntlet. I think that was in the trailer, and that's what I remember quite a lot as a kid. All right, let's go into our nitpicks and fixes then.
I don't know if this is a nitpick or something. I don't know how to categorize it, but like watching, I think this is like one of his first gigs, Dave Chappelle, and like to be in a Mel Brooks movie. But if you watch him throughout the movie, he's kind of not trying. Watch the Men in Tights like sing song, the Men in Tights. He's just kind of like, why am I doing this? Why am I? And that's my biggest nitpick is just watching him kind of like. There's moments where you watch him and he's just kind of like, cool, I'm in a Mel Brooks movie.
Yeah, it's
kind
a
of
little out of place.
A little bit, but maybe it was nervousness. Maybe it's like inexperience from that time period.
He was 19.
Yeah.
I also,
wow.
I actually read it the other way. I was actually watching him because I kind of don't like him anymore. I was actually watching him during all the scenes. He's actually acting his ass off. Anytime he's in the background, he's carrying on his motivation from whatever he was saying. He's not just stopping and looking off in the distance like every other Mel Brooks character. He's actually doing his thing. He's trying really freaking hard. So I should read it the other way. During the dancing thing, maybe a little bit.
I mean, that's where it really picked up for me. It was just like,
yeah, and that kind of makes sense because that's what he rails against today.
Yeah.
It's just ironic that he was in a movie where he was in tights and
drag.
And drag, yeah, exactly.
From my biggest nitpick is the shtick just don't stop. Where it's like after a while it just wears you down.
Yeah.
Like the first half hour of it I was like on the horse. I was like, yeah, this is great. Like, oh, but-um-ch, and then it's just like, I don't know how many more snares I got left in me, chief. Like by the end of it I was like, my wrist hurts.
See, it's funny, I had the opposite experience.
Uh-huh.
So I think like right away off the bat I was like, fuck, it's gonna be one of those. Like, oh no, like, you know, it was like wah, wah. And so like I was kind of like not having it for the first whatever 20-30 minutes. And then after a while then I'd see some stuff that like again I thought was, oh, that's pretty clever, I like that. And so it kind of brought me back.
Well, that's my problem is like for it's kind of like it follows that sitcom writing thing of like a joke a minute. But if we breathe every other minute, then joke at minute 3 is going to be way funnier.
Yeah.
But it was just like, there was times where I was like, my eyes started to ache from rolling. I was just like, all right, we get it, Mr. Brooks.
Yeah, I don't really have like a specific nitpick. It's more just that I don't think this movie's for me.
Okay.
Like again, like there's 10 really funny gag jokes that I can like point out.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, you know, but again, I didn't grow up with it per se, you know, so I don't want to say outdated because it's not outdated because, for example, I'll mention a movie later that I really enjoy that's even older than this. A lot of it just doesn't land for me.
You need to watch it 400 more times like the rest of us.
Yeah, I'll try that. Yeah,
you need to go back in a time machine, go back to when you were 12, rewatch it 50 times, and then come back and watch it as an adult.
Yeah. Drink the Kool-Aid, or no, just, you know, just chug the jug, you know, basically.
So I've got a couple things, jokes that haven't aged well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Some F slurs, the chop,
let's give him the chop.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That went over my head. What is that?
So that was the chance for like, it started in Florida State, Seminoles, and then it went to the Braves, and then it went to the Chiefs. It's a chant for all these sports teams that have Native Americans as mascots.
Oh, okay.
But at this time, people were up in arms about this back then anyways. It was just overpowered. It got no footing. Like nobody would listen. And it was just just blown over people. And this was done in almost every TV show because everyone knew what it was. I don't know if we want to call it light or extreme Islamophobia.
Oh, yeah. There's
the joke names.
Yeah, there's a couple jokes that I was like, I don't even know if
and they're
dressed like horse racers. I think is the most PC way to say that.
Well, the camel jockeys were.
There we go. Yeah, exactly.
Wow. I laughed watching this. I was like, I didn't even notice those were jockeys. And now that you make that reference, I'm like, oh.
That to me is pretty normal because that's an actual thing. It's an actual sport.
Yeah. And
that they were just trying to make fun of the fact that they were on a beach in LA with a bunch of camels, you know, trying to make it look like the Middle East or somewhere. But there's, you know, is a sneeze and a chew, making jokes out of, you know, people, all cultures, you know, names and whatever.
I mean, since we're on this track anyways, I felt like a lot of times watching it, like Dave Chappelle's character, Achu, is just tokenized completely. All his big jokes were, okay, we have an African-American in our cast and we're going to make these jokes because that's what we're doing. And I feel like that wasn't, like, to go back and watch Blazing Saddles, that wasn't like the thing.
No, the way where I would point out is that this movie is actually a parody of Prince of Thieves.
Right.
And the entire thing with Dave Chappelle being in it is to make fun of Azim. I don't think it related too much to a commentary on culture or anything like that. It was just, pointing out you have one black person in your movie from Robin Hood.
See, and you turned me around. I'm like, okay, yeah.
I know where you were going with it.
Yeah.
I totally recognize it. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of up in the air. It's Mel Brooks too.
Yeah.
How much do we let him get away with?
Yeah, at this point.
Speaking on just, it being a parody of Prince of Thieves, parody movies just suffer from this in general. The pop culture references haven't aged well. Like, there was a handful of them that I would had to be like, I had to really dig into the recesses of my mind and be like, oh yeah, that was a brand. Like, and be like, oh, that was a thing. That's right.
It's an Everlast.
That goes into my next one, which is the Patriot Arrow.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to any of you?
Did not.
Is that a Patriot missile? That's a thing, right?
Yeah. So
Okay,
the Patriot missiles was hot on everyone's mind because 2 years before this, we had started the first Iraq War. And it was the first war that we had live on television. Where we could watch the Patriot missiles fly at night. That's all the old footage you see of them shooting off at night. That was part of the joke, which is, I don't know how, I remember it being pretty poignant. The Islamophobia got ramped up after 9/11. Back in the early 90s, they were just trying to get people mad at the other.
Yeah.
And they weren't getting much traction. The jokes are kind of small, but by the time 9/11 came around, it was full force, Islamophobia and turning people against each other. But
It's not very springtime for Hitler of Mel Brooks.
No. Another thing I damn him for is all those songs from the producers in my head when spring comes around.
Yeah.
It's like, why am I singing this? Stop singing this. And then at the end, the king makes all toilets named John's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's John Little supposed to think of this?
I know.
Oh.
He's just smiling in the background. I don't think he gets it. I feel sorry for him.
Yeah. I don't know, he seems like the kind of guy who would take pride in that. Like, oh, something's named. Like, I have the same name as, like, that's great.
It's a very useful tool. If we didn't have it, I mean,
Where would I go? Yeah.
right in the bushes.
Anything else?
One last one, and this is more just like a plot one that's just kind of, when you think about it, you're like, oh, that's icky. Why did Robin's father own the key to Marion's chastity belt?
He won it in a poker game.
Yeah. I accept that as canon.
I accept that as canon as well. Could it be one thing if it was like, like a fellow, soldier of the crusade who knew her kind of thing, and like, this is the greatest treasure in the land, but it's like, I've had this on the shelf for about 20 years. Kind of thing. It's like, no.
Don't tell your mother about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, motherfucker.
Oh, that makes me sad a little bit.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, welcome to Nostalgia Killers.
He's just killed my nostalgia.
Let's go on to our rainy day double feature.
I went Shrek. It's on the
You
same.
always go Shrek.
I mean, when applicable. But
Well,
it's
once
like,
you finally watch it, Luke,
I know.
you'll understand.
it's on the same vibe with like the jokes and the shtick. It's just, I think like I give some of the shtick a little more leeway because I'm like, oh, it's a cartoon.
Yeah.
I'm like, Donkey can make another fart joke. That's fine.
I was led to believe it was a documentary. I'm upset now.
I'm going to go with something that's really on the nose. I would watch Prince of Thieves purely on the fact of like, I want to see like what they like, where the inspiration for some of these jokes were. Sure. Maybe it's just like Mel Brooks being funny and it's a funny character flaw thing with Rottingham continually messing up his lines. But I want to go back and watch it to see if Alan Rickman flubbed a line and that's like, they just took it to the extreme or something. Like,
Yeah, I know what you mean, but no, I can spoil it for you there.
thank you. I don't have to go back and watch Prince of Thieves.
I actually still like that one. I actually watch it all the time, but it's like this movie is a direct parody of that movie because it came out 2 years afterwards.
Oh,
yeah, like you said, right on the nose. What you got, Javi?
I have Airplane.
Nice, dude.
Yeah. I guess kind of what I was
Suckers.
referencing earlier. Older film, but for some reason it works a lot better for me.
Yeah.
Have you seen the second one, right?
Yeah.
That was a heavy rotation in my house growing up.
I watch Airplane all the time.
Nice, dude. Let's do that one.
There we go.
I got another one that's kind of on the other nose, but Hot Shots.
This came up actually with the person I watched this movie with last night. She was just like, I watched Hot Shots and Hot Shots Part 2 like multiple times. Like, oh yeah, that movie.
Yeah.
What's the time gap?
They're right next to each other.
Are they? Oh, okay.
But Carrie Ellis is in Hot Shots. As the bad guy,
Right.
kind of the Iceman, and that's coming up later too.
I would throw Princess Bride on there.
Yeah,
Just
it was difficult to not pick Princess Bride, and I was like, I gotta go for the Shreks.
Yeah, I was trying. Yeah, let's go into this movie's cocktail.
Yeah.
Mocktail.
In honor of the greatest treasure in the land, we have the chastity belt. So, to make a chastity belt, 2 ounces of a black currant infused English breakfast tea, 1 ounce of a homemade grenadine. So you've got pomegranate juice, sugar, lemon zest, a little bit of rose water, a little orange blossom water, and tonic. So mix your tea and grenadine over ice, top with tonic water, and enjoy as you wait for your true love to bring you the key to drunkenness.
If I want to be a degenerate, what do I add to this?
I'll probably add
What's your
gin.
recommendation? Okay.
Yeah, this is a gin
like the
drink
little
for sure.
gin, would pick it up. But, you gotta throw a mocktail in every now and then.
No, I love it.
absolutely.
It's extremely tasty.
Yeah,
It's delicious.
I'm enjoying it. The mocktail version, at least.
Yeah. And with that, we'll go on to our first ad break.
And break. And we're back with Nostalgia Killers Trivia. That's right. It's time to find out if our guests can think quick or pause on the shtick.
I'll take it from here, Chuck.
All right, yeah.
Thanks. Let's start with question number 1. True or false? Cary Elwes has shown his many talents over the years, and it is him we hear singing "The Night Is Young and You're So Beautiful."
False.
I'm going to say true, and it was just dubbed. It was like pre-recorded.
I'll say true.
Brandon.
Hey.
None of the actors actually sang their songs in this movie.
Oh.
Okay.
A lot of them were, however, written by Mel Brooks.
Oh, no, I mean, that
This
makes
one
sense.
this one wasn't, but all the other ones were very much Mel Brooks songs. On to question number 2. True or false? Blazing Saddles alum Gene Wilder has a camouflaged cameo where he delivers a cryptically problematic line.
True.
I'm going to go true, because why would you bring this up otherwise?
Oh, they're reading me.
And I'm going to go false for shits and giggles.
All right, well, you lose because it is true. Did you guys recognize Wilder?
I looked for him because I knew he was somewhere in there, and I didn't see him though. So
I found him when Maid Marian is being her intro scene, which is coming down the stairs, and all the guards are staring at her breasts like one after the other. He's the actual like kind of the raconteur at the bottom, the guy that actually like kind of puts his head next to her breasts and follows her.
Oh,
Yeah, it's him. he's kind of got a goatee and mustache and a hat and a cape and all that. But his line, which I had never heard before, his line is "nice bristles," which is Cockney slang for nice breasts.
you learn something new every day.
Yeah, nice bristles, Bristol City, titty.
There we go.
Nice
I was
titties.
going to say, I forgot
The
Cockney
Cockney of-
rhyming.
Yeah,
Because I was like, so they just have a city over there named Tit?
I mean, they got the Grand Teton Mountains. I'm just
true.
yeah. But I had to like dive deep. I was up until midnight writing this trivia. But I had to search and search and search, and that's the only place he could be. And everyone claims he's in it, but nobody's like proven it or written it down. But I looked really fucking hard, and that's him.
No way.
And the line is dubbed, but it's it's nice bristles, which I'm going to just say from now on.
Yeah.
Question number 3. The original script found its way into the pipeline into Hollywood through A, a writing contest, B, a dentist appointment, C, Mel Brooks' nephew.
I'm gonna go C.
C.
I'm going to go B.
It was B.
Oh,
finally got
Chuck's
one.
on. Yeah, there we go.
So the original writer of the original script, Evan Chandler, which has a long history I'll go into maybe later. He was a practicing dentist at the time who aspired to be a film writer. And he watched Prince of Thieves, and his 11 or 12-year-old son convinced him to write a parody of it. So he did. One of his clients, he was a dentist in Beverly Hills.
Right.
One of his clients was Shapiro, who was one of the other writers on the script. They worked on it and got it to Mel Brooks. Mel Brooks got it and kind of rewrote it himself, but that's how it got in. It was a dental appointment.
I was going to say, I pictured it being more insidious and genius than that.
Yeah.
Like you're just an aspiring screenwriter who is a doctor or a dentist, and instead of having like ancient copies of Time magazine, you just have your failed screenplays. And it's like, what do we got? We got highlights for kids, and then we got, what's this? Warriors of the West.
Robin Hood.
Yeah,
It's fucking genius.
exactly.
Why don't we do that?
I'm just picturing him watching the first cut of it and just being like, where are all the teeth jokes? He didn't say, I've been down in the mouth. I don't.
It's not that this lacks substance, it plaques substance.
Yes. Okay.
Awesome. Question number 4. True or false? Sean Connery wanted to reprise his role as King Richard in the spoof as a cross-dressing king, but was turned down after asking for too much money, and Brooks cast Patrick Stewart instead.
I'm gonna say false because Sean Connery seems too homophobic.
Yeah,
to want to do that.
I was also going to say false just because that sounds like way too specific.
It was true. You're all wrong.
What?
Yeah. Sean Connery actually approached Brooks with the idea.
Damn.
But then he asked for $1 million to be in the end of the movie the same way he was in Prince of Thieves.
I love that. I love it being like,
And it was
I've got
his-
this great laugh.
and it-
Like,
yeah.
just like,
Well, that's why Patrick Stewart does a Scottish accent too,
I caught that.
to make fun of all that.
Oh, I was wondering.
Yeah, yep, but yeah, that was Sean Connery,
God.
early '90s board, I guess.
I just love shit like that where it's like, no, I'm telling you, like, this Who song would be perfect. You just have to give me $7 million and it's gonna work.
I just got to throw out there, just Patrick Stewart on that was like just so brilliant. He was the best acting in that whole movie, and just for that one brief moment.
Yeah.
I mean, that checks out,
I love him.
All right, question number 5. Which actor is joined in the cast by his son? A. Mark Blankfield. B. Dick Van Patten. C. Dom DeLuise.
I'm gonna say C. Dom DeLuise.
I'm going to go with B, Dick Van Patten.
I recognized him, so I knew that it was C.
B and C are correct.
Oh!
I noticed David DeLuise as well, but then as I was going through it, fucking James Van Patten is also in The Villagers, so Dick Van Patten's son. So 2 of them.
Yeah, this movie had me feel like a confused mom because there were so many times where I'd pause this movie and be like, "Is that? It's that young man from?" And then I would look it up and be like, "No, it's not him."
I was trying to figure out which one was David. He's the guy that goes, "Which one means yes?"
Yeah, me. Yeah, he's in the front row.
Yeah. Good job, everybody.
Yay!
Yay!
Oh, I feel vindicated of somehow.
All the answers were right. No. Question number 6. Which actor reprises their exact role from a previous Brooks film?
Is it Mel Brooks just playing a token Jewish person?
That might be.
I'm going to say The Hangman.
I don't have an even remotely educated
Okay.
guess. So.
Brendan is right. It is Boris the Hangman.
Oh.
The exact same actor and character from Blazing Saddles.
I was just sitting there going like, wait a minute, I know this.
Robert Ridgely, he's got a huge list of things he's been into, which I never realized. He was in Boogie Nights. He's like one of these.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I forget, not the captain. What's his name? The Colonel.
The Colonel.
He's the Colonel. Question number 7. Here's a time capsule. When Robin reveals himself at the archery contest, the crowd erupts into a particular applause, a chant. What were they referencing?
They were referencing Arsenio Hall.
Oh, yeah.
Brandon wins. I figured Brandon was the only one who's going to get it.
No, I recognize it. My brain went,
Yeah.
because we talked about the whole chop thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, sports.
That's why I threw it in there. It was like to throw you off. Because they do both of them. That's the same thing.
While I was watching it last night, I turned to my friend and was just like, that's Arsenio Hall reference.
Yeah.
So I remember that.
Yeah, and that was done in every TV show and every movie in the 90s.
Every single
Because Arsenio
goddamn
was so
one.
popular. And as far as I can tell, Arsenio Hall, amazing human being. Just a stand-up. He's like one of the talk show hosts that didn't turn out to be
Oh, thank God.
a total, like, I don't know, criminal,
Yeah.
jerk, mean person. He's actually just a nice guy.
All right.
So
Let's do a whole podcast on that one.
I do want to.
What did Mocktail do?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Haven't looked into it.
We haven't started rumors since the first 2 episodes of this podcast. Let's put that on the back burner. All right, question number 8. John Candy was originally cast as Broomhilda, but had to bow out to work on Cool Running.
Well, he made a
True or
great
false?
choice. I'm going to say true.
I'm going to go with false just because that actress, like, she only had, League of Her Own? She looked like she could have gone somewhere, but, Broomhilda, that's it.
I'm going to say false.
It is false.
Okay.
And completely made up because I couldn't find enough trivia questions to fill out this.
I mean, that sounds...
But, I mean, I figured he's in Spaceballs. He might, he might think he was in this movie or not.
I like that I instantly was like, that's true, and he made the right decision.
Question number 9. Usual Suspects. Which previous Nostalgia Killers movie features Brian George, Maître Donjon, from this movie? A. The Mummy. B. Ghost World. Or C. Pirates of the Caribbean.
I'm going to go with A.
Yeah, I was going to say A, but now I'm thinking about Pirates. I'm like, wait a minute.
I'm going to go C, Pirates.
I'll still say
go with A.
Because I recognize them almost immediately, but
All of you are wrong.
Oh.
It's B, Ghost World.
What?
Oh, shit.
He's Zach's boss at the gas station who gets in a fight with Doug.
Oh.
That's a movie I haven't seen since I worked in a little tiny.
It was pretty unfair to you, but we covered that last year. Brian George has over 330 credits, but he does a lot of voice work.
Yeah.
Okay.
His list is huge.
One of the fun things was like looking at some of the cast and be like, what else have they worked on? And who was it? It was the guy that plays Will Scarlet. I've been playing Starfield like nonstop, and it was all of a sudden like, Starfield? Mooch! Oh, hey, there we go. All right.
Right on. Question number 10. Carrie Elwes also appears in Hot Shots, a spoof movie of Top Gun. But what movie did Elwes actually star in opposite of Tom Cruise other than the latest Mission Impossible?
Liar, liar.
Tom Cruise?
Wait, I was like, wait.
That's the only other movie I know that Carrie Elwes is in.
Oh, no, there's more.
Here comes the claw.
I am going to go on a limb and say that Carrie Hughes was chasing this fantasy thing pretty hard. I'm going to say Legend.
Legend? Okay.
Classic.
Good guess.
The Last Samurai.
I'm going to go with Zoolander.
No, it's one maybe y'all haven't visited or watched in a while, or maybe never seen, but Days of Thunder.
Oh.
Which is Top Gun in race cars.
Yeah.
Carrie Elwes is the threat replacement guy who's like gunning for Tom Cruise's job, but then he goes on to play the Iceman in Hot Shots against Charlie Sheen, who's like taking place with Tom Cruise. You know, it's like a huge back and forth, like all throughout like movie history. They've been like dodging each other. It's been funny.
Days of Thunder was a movie that always tricked me as a kid because that would like be on TV and there'd be like a moment that was intense and I'd be like, oh, like I'm gonna stop everything and watch this, and I'd sit down and then it would just like I'd get 5 minutes and I'd be like, oh, I'm like 10. This is boring.
I rewatched it recently. I'm kind of okay with it. It's actually better than Top Gun in my opinion.
Is there a shirtless volleyball scene in it?
No,
there's a shirtless mechanic scene though.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. That's fine.
No, the only thing they do on the beach is drive cars against each other, like through the surf. It's very strange. Thank you all for playing our trivia show. Congratulations to Brandon for winning.
Yeah. Hey.
Awesome. Let's go on to thanking our executive producers, Addie Martinez. Thank you as always, Addie. And if you would like to be an executive producer of the show and support us, you can as well for $15 on Patreon. Please give us money. We need money. We like money.
That's right, Addie. Thank you for supporting the show. You have the key to the chastity belt that is this program. Your $15 unlock the greatest treasure in the land.
Oh, don't make me draw that in 3D. Let's take our second ad break.
Ad break number 2.
And welcome back to Act 3, the award categories, where we start off with my new band name and where we limit Chuck.
That's right. Neutered forever.
I needed that too. Like I was looking for them the whole time because I love band name making.
It's one of the easiest and most fun categories we've ever had.
Yeah.
I guess it's easy to go let it run away. You know, the one I picked was a little bit more blood. It's when Latrine is like pouring, making his breakfast. It's like a little bit of Raven's blood, a little bit more blood, and they're a vampire.
I did love that bit where it's like, oh no, like, well, if you want that, you should hire a mystic. I'm your sweetheart.
My first one is just because I say this in my head a lot, and I'm going to say it as one word. I don't know how I'd spell it, but it's just one word. But the band would be Hey Blinkin'.
Yeah,
nice.
Hey Blinkin'.
Leave it up for interpretation.
Yeah.
No, I didn't say Abe Lincoln.
I know. What I was thinking is they would all dress like Abe Lincoln, but with like blind person sunglasses on. Yeah.
I think my next one is Depressing Foundation.
Oh,
Yeah, that would be
nice.
like definitely a shoegaze band.
Yeah.
You've seen The Last of Us, which I think would make a good cultural reference for our time. Oddly enough, I haven't seen The Last of Us, but I hear Nick Offerman's great in it.
I also had Depressing Foundation, which is I was like, oh. I always love it when the band names line up. But yeah, my Depressing Foundation is Goth Industrial. So, Forgotten Duck, which we touched on earlier. They'd be an indie rock band. And my last one is Privacy Blow. They're a garage rock band, and it's when the king is in his arcane jacuzzi. And he's like, I need a privacy blow. And then like they're just like they keep going, kind of just a little bit more seductively. And he's like, no, like I need privacy, blow off. Like, please leave.
What you got, Heavy?
I have DED Dead.
Yes.
And that's a EDM artist.
I was hoping for a moment in the podcast to talk about how great Dom DeLuise is in this.
hell yeah.
Like the impression is fucking spot on.
Yes. Oh my god.
So good.
Got those cotton balls. Was once from the dentist. I had just gone to the dentist that day. Go figure.
And then the only other one I had, which now I'm a little worried to say because I don't know if I missed something earlier. I had camel jockeys.
Yeah.
All right.
So it is a slur, but it is also an actual profession. Like, there's nothing wrong with it.
Oh, okay.
There's really, they actually like camel jockeys is a slang term for an Arabic person.
Okay, sure. I mean, yeah.
But they were actually just jockeys on camels, which is an actual sport in desert places. Like
totally. Okay.
So like it could be. I guess taken that way.
Yeah. Okay.
But I took it literally. I'm like, oh, that's sweet. They have actual camel jockeys there.
So I guess that would not be a name for a band.
A problematic way of showing that would be to show people who look like they're from the Middle East and calling them camel jockeys.
Yeah.
Perfect. Then I will not finish my sentence.
Yeah.
All right.
I will not mention the duo that I wanted.
Oh. Well, there we go.
If you want to hear Javier's racist ideologies for $15 a month,
become a Patreon.
We'll be on Patreon. Oh Jesus!
Can I do one more?
Oh yeah, go for it.
This just sounds like it's a ska band that does nothing but emo covers. Bad news in a good way.
Oh yeah.
Right on to the Roger Deakins Would Be Proud Award for cinematography.
I've tried really hard
I did too.
watching this movie, and the only thing I would say is to put this up there is just how well cut all the falls were. Mm-hmm. Like every single time somebody had to fall over, it was just like you watch them stumble and then boom, they're on the ground. Like good job.
Yeah, I usually try to sort of fill out my notes in the list like as I'm watching the movie when things pop up like, oh yeah, but no, that's a good band name, whatever. And so it wasn't until 10 minutes before the movie ended that I was like, oh shit, there's been like no Roger, and like just as I was thinking about it, we had the locket shattering with the key and the key falls and it falls right into the
I was kind of curious how they did that.
Yeah, so
it doesn't look like CGI, and they didn't have that good CGI back then.
No, I mean they had a real fucking bird land on her.
Oh yeah, that was
hang out, and that was
that was pretty
She
good.
had birdseed in her hand. I know. Okay.
I know, but it just like these days, it's like it's
We'll
just
fix
such
it
a
in post.
joy to see it. Yeah, as opposed to like no, we're just gonna build a bird from scratch.
Mine was anytime they're at the in Sherwood and there's a pond in the background, like when they're doing the archery thing or they're singing or whatever. You don't see the PA, but there's a PA in the water making little waves and ripples to make the water look active and to keep the lights from being a reflection directly into the water.
Oh my god!
I just noticed it the first time watching it this time because there's no reason for those waves to exist except there's someone behind that target making water waves.
Because if it was actual waves, that means that there'd be wind, and that would just ruin the whole archery contest.
Yeah. So if you go back and watch it, whenever you do, you'll see it next time. There's just little tiny ripples coming out from behind something, obscuring whoever's doing it behind it, and a really nice touch. Kept it from being visually boring.
I had Rottingham's upside down POV of Robin when he falls from his horse.
That's pretty good
because it was just like one of the few shots. I was like, yeah, we really thought that one out. That looks cool.
I couldn't get over the fake horse leg.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I realized this time that had to be a fake horse. On to Is That Channing Tatum and a Dog Color Award.
I mean, you already mentioned Brian George as the maitre d'.
Oh, go for
it. I got Gene Wilder. I mean, but I had to hunt for it.
Yeah. I had Isaac Hayes.
Yeah.
Isaac Hayes. Yes. Yeah.
Just because he is such a bit part, but he's like,
that's great. He was a great comedian on top of a musician. He was a great actor, and I don't know.
Was this before or after Scientology?
It was at the time. at the same time it was happening.
Yeah. That's why he's so funny. His thetans were perfect.
Thetans.
So I have two that kind of go hand in hand, being a little just slightly younger than.
It's not the camel thing again, is it?
No, so I had Eric Allen Kramer and David DeLuise.
Okay.
Who were both like super famous dads on like Disney Channel shows.
Yeah, you saw that one too.
Yeah. So I was like, I think David Allen Kramer, he was the first one that came. I think Sherlock Holmes was like, oh shit, it's the dad from fucking the show.
Yep.
And then later I'm like, oh, David DeLuise, he's the other dad from Wizards of Waverly Place.
It's not of my generation.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Yeah.
But that's how I recognized him too. I was like, this time around, I was like, oh, that guy's on television. Did anybody get a Hans Gruber? I didn't. So I didn't really.
Chuck,
you wanted us to get rid of this thing, and you've had one every time so far.
That's because I do my homework and I fill out my fucking
It's because you're a jerk.
I am. I had not his death, but Rottingham launching into Latrine's tower. I just want an excuse to bring that scene up. It's fucking great.
I learned last night studying that entire thing was an ad lib with Tracy Ullman.
I was wondering.
Yeah. They were like standing on set going, what if he did this? And then they went out and made the catapult do the thing. They like built all that shit, did the stunt with it.
Wow.
There was a moment where when I watched her go like, I touched it. And I was like, I wonder if that's a Tracy Ullman ad lib.
Oh yeah. There's a half hour behind the scenes that Carrie Ellis hosts. It's actually pretty funny. It's on YouTube.
Okay.
It's pretty good. Not a lot. I was trying to dig for trivia, but there's not a lot in it, but it's fun to watch.
I do have a Hans Gruber Death Fall award, and it is Rottingham, but it's not when he gets stabbed and almost dies. It's how he dies inside when he gets dragged off by Latrine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I changed my mind.
I nearly re-pissed myself at the lifesaver gag.
Yeah, right.
I know.
I completely forgot about this joke. It was funny when I was 13. It's funny now.
You got saved by the power of Retson.
I got this magic pill. And it's like an unmistakable shape. I'm like, they never say the word lifesaver. It's like, oh my God. Awesome. Okay. Javi, was I the only one that did it right?
I didn't have one either. No.
Why I like Waterworld, a controversial hot take.
This might not be a hot take, just because I think maybe other people agree. I'm not sure.
Yeah, mine's pretty lame too.
But I think this is Mel Brooks' weakest movie.
God, that was mine. Yeah,
Okay.
Same.
Yeah. Just because I really enjoy the rest of them. Yeah, Dead and Loving It is fine, but
Right.
but I think I like it better than this. I think.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty common opinion.
Yeah.
I never really thought about it that way, but I can see it.
Yeah, this is exactly the same thought I had. I'm like, if you're going to introduce somebody to Mel Brooks, don't do Men in Tights.
Oh yeah, no, it'd be Blazing Saddles off the bat.
Yeah, mine is Seth MacFarlane ruined this movie for me because I burned myself out on Family Guy in my early 20s. You know, shtick a second, gag a minute humor is now just kind of like, I'm like, oh man.
Well, see, that was, this came up with me and my friend watching. I was just like, why don't they make more movies like that? And she was just like, I think the scary movies and not another teen movie kind of burned out this whole genre during that time period.
Mine is, it's not much of a hot take, but I'm kind of ready for a gender swapped Robin Hood movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because over the pandemic, there was this film that came out. I don't think a lot of people saw it on Netflix. I think it was just called Dracula. But the Van Helsing character was a woman in it, and it played really well. And I just liked it. It was good.
Was that a good show then?
Yeah.
Okay, because my wife tried to get me to start watching it the other day, but I told you guys last podcast she picks the worst shit to watch.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't want to watch this Dracula thing, but I guess I'll watch it now.
It is actually, they do a good job. It's not just like, done for the sake of having a woman playing the Van Helsing, the hunter. It is like an actually like good Dracula movie.
Cool.
Like,
Okay.
I kind of liked it. That's not my pandemic brain talking. It's like I actually genuinely liked it. Blue Velvet meets Blue's Clues. What film would you mash up with this movie to make it more entertaining or better or just a train wreck?
So product movies are huge right now. That's like the trend. We've got like Air, we've got a Hot Cheetos movie, we've got all that. So mine is Men in Tights meets Barbie. So we have a Mel Brooks style slapstick send up of Stretch Armstrong. Plenty of opportunities for low hanging fruit dick jokes. Like a lot of just like
everything you said is a euphemism for
exactly
low hanging fruit.
Yep. Just like, oh, not everything stretches. I'm like, the whole. Exactly.
I picked a movie just for the sake of picking a movie, but it's more about the concept, right? And so when I was thinking about this question, I kept trying to go like dark and gritty and violent in my head.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, like what would be a cool, like a cool, dark, but gritty version of Robin Hood, right? And then I realized like, oh shit, I didn't watch Robin Hood. I watched Robin Hood, Men in Tights. And then I was like, well, you know what? That in itself, so making a dark, gritty, violent parody that is also like a meta take on everybody wanting everything to be dark and gritty nowadays.
Okay.
All right. So so I got, for example, I put like Punisher or something. But
so just like bad dad jokes while he like blows people's faces off.
Maybe it's just like the time period for which these movies came out, but like I would want to watch a parody like this done in this style to Braveheart.
Yeah.
I think that would be a lot of fun. That'd be funny,
Surprised that's not a thing.
right?
I think it has been done, just not Braveheart alone. I think it's
yeah.
been mixed into a Wayans movie at some point.
That makes sense.
But I totally get it. For me, I would futurize the Robin Hood story. Kind of thinking like what Tyler Durden was trying to do, and like erase the debt record, bring everyone back to zero. That kind of stuff.
That would be super cool, actually.
That's actually, yeah.
But yeah, if they were trying to do it in order to rise everybody up instead of just trying to be destructive.
Wait a minute.
Brainwave.
No, I'm just saying, I just had the epiphany. Like, we already did this, Luke. It's called The Beekeeper, starring Jason Statham.
Oh, great.
That's actually the plot line. It's like some
fucking
little old lady gets like taken for a ride, basically, and
Right.
Jason Statham goes to like take on
I remember.
the fishing company or like
Yeah. That's every Jason Statham movie.
yeah, exactly.
All right, here comes Kanye. Pluggables. Brandon, you said you weren't doing any shows?
I mean, I'm not
Stuff coming
doing
up?
any shows, but you can go on Instagram or Threads or even TikTok, mostly TikTok,
yeah.
and look for Grolix the Clown or just Grolix Clown. I stopped doing a whole lot because it sucks being a person on the internet. But I have some fun little clown bits up there, and it's mostly just me telling stepdad jokes at this point. I just got the biggest upsurge for talking about Weird Al. And
Weird Al's very popular. Right now.
Weird Al's very popular, and everybody agrees. I think he should be added to the list of like positive masculinity.
Sure.
Oh, most definitely.
But even just bringing that up on the internet, I now have a headache because everybody's got their like, no, LeVar Burton. I'm like, this is not trying to suggest LeVar Burton not. Just this is about Weird Al.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, you can find me on the internet as Grolix the Clown.
And we, as the podcast, are having our fundraiser for our playing cards going on, which was a very ineloquent way of saying we have an Indiegogo and we would like your money.
Yeah. If you would like your own deck, just hop on Indiegogo, Nostalgia Killers. We've got quality cards for quality listeners.
Designed by me. There's the options to get a single deck, options to get a signed deck by all of the Nostalgia Killers. And there's the Run Me Ready package where you get 2 decks for about half price. But
Also-
we still got about 50 days left. No, Chuck, you don't get to. Yeah, you get.
Okay, I was just gonna say, not only will I sign it, I'll leave you personal little messages on every card.
I thought it was going to be about your peacock.
Oh no, I feel like much like Mel Brooks, I feel like I have beaten this dead horse. But that being said,
Fuck.
you can always tune in to Married to Medicine Season 10. Let's take a Napa.
That's your new middle name.
Exactly.
Married to Medicine Season 10, Starzenski. We'll go on to Do We Call Jules and Vincent? What do we all think, despite the problematic nature of a lot of the old puerile jokes?
Go watch another Mel Brooks movie.
So what about this movie? Would you let it live?
It's
Are you going to watch it again?
maybe like in another 20 years.
Okay, cool. that's perfect. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Maybe in another 40 years. Jesus.
For me, it's not so much the problematic nature. It's just like I got a half hour in. It's kind of like having pancakes. It's like you're like, oh my God, I love pancakes. I haven't had pancakes in like a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Then you order a thing of flapjacks and you're like, fuck. I still have 8 pancakes to eat.
Yeah.
That's how I kind of felt watching this movie a little bit. So personally, I'm going to kill it, not because it's a bad movie, but because I just think I'm too old for like the shtick.
Yeah, I was going to kill it as well. It's just not, a lot of it didn't hold up for me, and I kind of felt the same way. It's just...
Well, I've never fit in the crowd, so I'm going to let it live.
Yeah.
But that's just because it's so ingrained in my comedy
sure.
DNA. And but I'm old enough now to recognize the problems in it, and to allow it to be faulted for that. But okay, I guess this kind of dies then. If we were to vote on
Murder, kill.
With that, let's go on to our Sonic Death Monkey top 5 and figure out how each one of us interpreted the question this time. Which was name top 5 characters from other movies that you think would make a good Robin Hood movie.
Was it characters or
actors? Characters.
Okay.
This is always kind of left open to interpretation because it's funnier that way.
Yeah. Okay.
Because everyone stumbles through everyone's like in their own movie at this point, which is kind of fun. So my number 5, Ralph Fiennes, but from the Avengers era. And I don't know if any of you know about the Avengers movie.
Talking about like bowler hat Avengers?
Yeah.
Uma Thurman Avengers?
When I came back to America, that's one of the first movies I saw in the theater. And I fucking love this movie. And everyone hated it because it was a remake of a TV show from the 50s or 60s. And it was nothing like the TV show. So everyone just shit on it. But I love the movie itself. But Ralph Fiennes in that movie would be a great Robin Hood, I think.
I'm gonna throw like this curveball, but my choice to play the Robin Hood character would be Hugh Laurie. Like, just if you've never seen the show Blackadder, he's got such good comedic chops. But then, compared to watching him on House, like, I feel like he would give the character that Leslie Nielsen vibe of being able to say everything as sincere as he possibly can. And that's where a lot of the comedy comes from me. Sometimes Cary Elwes was a little bit too I'm doing a funny thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think Hugh Laurie would have knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, I interpreted this question as literally making a good Robin Hood. So I have every character getting closer to being a Robin Hood.
I jumped through all of our interpretations throughout my list, so it's fine.
So my number 5 is Will Turner from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Okay.
Because he's already dedicated to doing what's
selfless.
right.
Yeah.
He's selfless. He's trying to save a damsel who's not necessarily in distress because Elizabeth, she holds her own. But so he's getting there. He's got like the basic chops.
Yeah. I took the question the same way. And my number 5 is what I thought would be all of our number 5s, but it's not too late. Maybe it's on the rest of your guys' list. The obvious low-hanging fruit, Wesley from Princess Bride.
Oh yeah.
I was like, that's why he's my number 5. It's pretty on the nose. But
I had a little bit of a disappointment when I watched the sword scene, the sword fight between Rottingham, because I was just like, because I know Cary Elwes can do better than this.
But his partners couldn't. My number 4, Mia Wallace. Not necessarily selfless, but a person finding themselves out and trying to do the right thing.
I'm also going actor this time of somebody I think that would kill the role, Matt Berry.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, let's see him as a portly, as kind of a portly Robin Hood.
Why the fuck does everyone keep mistaking me for Friar Tuck? I'm bloody Robin Hood.
Little John, we need your help. And it's like, fuck off.
Every single time he shoots his bow, just arrow. That was a little loud in the
That's
arrow.
right.
That's all right. I'll bring it down.
Fix it in post.
There's somebody at the door. There's somebody at the door. Oh, yes, please. Yes, please, Matt Berry. If you're listening, please let's do Robin Hood.
And follow me on TikTok at Alex the Clown.
My number 4 is Rick O'Connell from The Mummy.
oh shit, that's cool.
Because he's got like a treasure hunting adventurer type. So he's almost there. He's like stealing from the rich who have been dead for centuries. He's also got one-liners, which I feel like are very important to a Robin Hood.
Number 4, I had another Orlando Bloom character. I had Legolas from Lord of the Rings.
There we go.
He's already got the archery and he's slightly charismatic. And
That's pretty dead on. You can just swap them like 1 for 1 almost. Yeah. Just put them in there. Nice. My number 3 is Brian Cullen from Life of Brian. Another person trying to figure themselves out, trying to do the right thing, but not the Messiah. So like the whole Robert of Locksley thing is that they're rich already, but they're turning down their rights as a king or lord or whatever to be a commoner. And I think I don't know if there's ever been a Monty Python and Mel Brooks crossover.
God, there should be.
Gene Wilder, maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say that just fits. Like I feel like that's like a Pepsi Coke crossover though at the time kind of thing. It's like we're both doing kind of treading the same waters here.
This is hilarious to me because I feel like everybody's going with like their least choice to their best choice. I'm going the opposite direction.
That's fine.
But here I am at number 3, just because I think he would make, because he's already played an archer. I'm going to go Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's get Hawkeye in there. Let's really.
Yeah, I almost put like Jason Bourne, like he's in the Born of the Bourne movies, kind of just trying to fight for the good fight. And
my number 3 is Benjamin Franklin Gates from National Treasure. Because again, he's dedicated to stealing from the powerful, and who better and more powerful to steal from than the U.S. government. He's very crafty. He's got his tricks. He's got his group of merry men, so to speak. Like he's got
Albuquerque.
Yeah, exactly.
My number 3, I have Jack Sparrow. I'd love to see a kookier, more maybe questionable Robin Hood too.
Drunk all the time.
That kind of goes into my number 2, which is Michael Douglas from Falling Down. Ready to burn the world.
You're charging me 1 shekel for a roll?
Yeah. It's like he's handing out his weapons to little kids. You know how to operate this bazooka?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, we should do Falling Down. That movie was,
It's intense. It's
I've
intense.
had a full 180 on that one personally.
Like you don't like it anymore? I spent a couple of weeks ago, I was in LA and it was just as hot and fucking sticky and gross as the movie portrays it to be.
Did you get out of your car and walk away?
Almost, man. The traffic was I was there for 3 or 4 days and I was stuck in traffic every day.
Be very weird about this one just because I'm having trouble remembering the name of the movie right now. But Brad Pitt's character from the Train movie where he's
Bullet Train?
with the therapy and it's like just him just Robin Hood working out all his problems during the movie. Hurt people. Boom.
Headshot.
My number 2 is Spider-Man from Spider-Man, taking on Oscorp.
Sure.
We've got the damsel in distress, working toward the greater good, but most importantly, he looks great in tights.
There you go. That's the number one qualification right there.
So for my number 2, and I'm going to go, I'll tell you which actor specifically, basically I think Obi-Wan Kenobi, man. Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Okay.
Yeah, he's super charismatic. He's great with the sword play. And, he sticks to his guns and he's all about, what's kind of just and right.
So for my number 1 ultimate would be Sam Elliott from Tombstone.
Oh.
Like the stranger from the Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
That guy as Robin Hood, just like walking mustache testosterone, but also a good person.
My final one, I'm going unhinged with this one. Heath Ledger's Joker. Same character, he's trying to get the crown. He's taking money from rich people and burning it. But I mean,
everything burns.
Yeah. Let me show you a trick. I'm gonna split his arrow in twain.
My number 1, she is just Robin Hood. It's Katniss Everdeen from The Hunger Games.
I put those off because I didn't think they were for me, but I kind of want to watch them now.
Yeah, they're fine. They're popcorn movies. They're fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, she has a bow. She takes on the rich and elite to defend the poor. She literally, she runs around in tights. She climbs trees. She sets up little fucking traps and stops carriages. Basically, she's Robin Hood. Yeah.
It makes sense, actually. It's actually right there.
My number 1 is the obvious one, which obviously was inspired by, but it has to be Zorro.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to put Antonio on here, and then I realized that Zorro is Robin Hood.
Right.
Yeah, it's just awesome.
I just had to go with
that's the one I was going to pick too. Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Well, thank you guys.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
If you're still listening, thank you for listening.
Thank you.
I have been Filthy Luca.
I have been Chuck Starzenski.
I have been Javier Martinez.
I've been nervous. I'm Brandon Wilson.
And we
Alex Clown.
And we have been the Nostalgia Killers.
Bang, bang.